Welcome to our show. Timber, hey, don't get away from us right now. Come here, girl. We've got a special guest. Timber.
Timber Joe.
Our little girl.
Our very large girl.
4 today. That's right.
How do you feel? Can you tell everyone how you feel? How does it feel to be 4?
Well, technically, in dog years, she's older than both of us
I know.
now.
She's 28.
You've become the matriarch of the family. I remember when you were the baby of the family, and now you've outgrown us all.
Oh, Timber. You're such a sweet dog. I just love dogs.
A little baby, that's what you are.
Oh, you're such
Gotta rep the
sweet
dog dad hat, because I'm a proud father of this little girl.
Yes.
Yes.
You're not very little, though. She's a very large German Shepherd.
She is
Australian Shepherd mix.
She is the light of our lives.
Is she gonna rip over our...
She is the light of our lives. She is a cause of many annoyances at times.
Yep. And messes.
And messes and
loud mornings. I wake
jumps up on
early.
our bed at 4 a.m. and barks out the window. But those are just some of the reasons I still love you, baby.
Yeah, she's probably working at Ghosts anyway.
Yeah, she's our little girl, and we love her so much.
We do love you. So this episode is dedicated to our little Timber Joe.
Timber Joe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this is an Encounters episode. Thank you all for tuning in with us on Paranormal Partners. This is our episodes where we read to you guys ghost stories. Other people's ghost stories. We always tell ghost stories.
And we want it to be yours, so send yours in.
Yeah, send us your ghost stories.
We have some great stories today.
Yes. I'll let you go first because I always go first.
Really? Okay.
This is my gracious gift to you on our Holy Dog Daughters Day.
Dog Daughter Day. All right. Well.
It's getting closer to Christmas. I'm super
Christmas
excited
time.
for Thanksgiving to be over so that we can start celebrating Christmas because Eric won't let me until after Thanksgiving.
We're gonna spend the night at Oddfellows this December.
Of course, that's what I was starting to think of. Oddfellows Asylum. Well, it was a mental hospital, an orphanage, the schoolhouse. It was like a retirement home kind of thing, like rehabilitation home. Ghost Adventures has been there. Ghost Hunters has been there.
And most importantly, Paranormal Partners
and now
has
we're
been
gonna
there.
be there.
We've been there, but now we're doing it overnight. But it's also a really beautiful place. It's very scenic.
Is gorgeous.
It's probably one of our favorite places we've been and go to. So
it is. It's like a bed and breakfast. They've redone the main office building has been redone into a bed and breakfast.
It's beautiful.
And there's a winery down there, and you can take your wine and like sit. They have places outdoors. You can sit. You can sit inside. You can sit and look at like the buildings
Jade
that
can
used
have
to be.
her wine, and I can have my apple juice, my grape juice.
Your hot chocolate. Yeah, you can sit and like look at all the old now they're kind of run down. You can't go inside unless you get special permission. But they're like gorgeous. And yeah, I'm so excited that the next month and we're going to be making a video of our time there.
Oh, yeah.
We have live streamed from there before, but
we have.
It was just like a random spur of the moment. Hey, let's start a live stream. But now we will actually make an organized video.
Oh, yeah, we will.
So excited. But anyway, onward with the encounter stories. That's our little update.
So this one is a shout out to Timber, the birthday girl. So it's about an old horse rescue farm. It's called Old Horse Rescue Farm I worked at that was haunted by so many animals.
Aww.
Here's some of my experiences.
Timber, no, you're never going to die. Come here. Come here.
We've decided that Timber's going to outlive us. We're going to give her some truth serum. That way she can survive like 70 more years.
You deserve it, my little darling.
Okay, so as she says... Hey all, I just thought I'd share this here with you as I did with another person, and thought it'd be an interesting read. When I was 12, my parents could no longer pay for my horseback riding lessons, so they contracted a local rescue stable and asked if I could hang out there. To my surprise, it was just one lady who owned the farm, and had 32 horses at a time. 32 horses.
That's a lot of work. Horses are very hard to maintain.
Yeah.
So that would be very hard.
Interesting side note about horses. My great-grandfather in New Zealand bred champion horses for running.
Aww.
And he had the voted best horse in the world. And back in like the 20s, he was offered $1 million for
Really?
it. Just one horse.
Wow.
And he passed it up because he loved it so much.
I used to really like watching like the Kentucky Derby and stuff.
Yeah,
and
it was for that kind of stuff.
the one horse I always remember, his name was Hoof Hearted. And so when it would be running really fast, the announcers would be yelling, Hoof Hearted, Hoof Hearted.
Who farted? Who farted?
Hoof Hearted in the lead. And I always thought it was hilarious.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, she invited me over, the lady with 32 horses, and told me I could have my own horse if I helped muck the stalls and do barn chores with her.
That's so sweet.
So that summer I spent over 8 hours a day there. My mom would drop me off before she went to work at 7 and pick me up a little before the sun went down. I'd bring food and I could go in the owner's house as I pleased if I wanted to. In those long hours, I was pretty much entirely alone except when the owner was giving me riding and training lessons. With 32 horses, free roaming the fields, and an old dairy barn, it was built in 1911 and had 40 stalls.
There's something very eerie about barns. That's one of my things is if I see an old barn. We're from Lincoln, Nebraska, but Nebraska has a lot of farms if you just go on a road trip or whatever. And that was my one thing always as a kid, and even now, seeing old rundown barns, I was always 99% sure there was a ghost haunting those barns. That is haunted, absolutely. This is my one creep factor thing is old barns.
They're creepy. They're definitely creepy. So there was a lot of cleaning to do. So I would muck the stable aisle a lot. On nice days, all the horses and various dogs and cats would hang out in the pastures. How cute is that?
Oh, that sounds like heaven.
So many times I would have all the stalls shut and be sweeping, mucking, and hear a horse stumble or shuffle in their stall. And then I'd turn around, and of course no horses were in the stalls. Ghost horse.
Aw.
Sometimes I would be inside a stall, sprinkling sawdust around, and feel a prickly muzzle touch my neck. I'd turn around and no horse.
I mean, that's the best kind of ghost, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
That's so sweet. I actually just shared something to our Facebook page about asking people if they've experienced
ghost pets.
Ghost pets, and so many of you responded and said yes. It was amazing reading your story. So thank you, everyone who commented on there. I love reading that stuff. So uplifting to know that our pets are still around.
Oh, yeah. I would feel cat's paw at my hands, and there were no cats around. A dog nudging my hip with nothing there. So one day, I literally watched 2 white cats sprint across the barn and into a stall. I followed and looked inside, and no cats. Nowhere they could have escaped.
Oh, white cats.
That one,
interesting.
That one, out of everything, is the least believable because cats can slip through nothing. They're just magic. Cats can do anything.
Oh, you mean
they're
explainable?
Cats can do crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. They can jump. I don't even want to get into it. They're magic.
Cats are magic.
So there was an old white Arabian named Corona. I rode a few times who passed at age 36.
Aww.
His best buddy was a leopard, Appaloosa, named Hopper, who was 30 when Corona passed. About 3 weeks later, I had put Hopper in his stall to groom him. He suddenly turned from me and reached over into Corona's empty stall and breathed heavily and pricked his ears and was quivering the way he would when he would greet Corona in the next stall.
Aww.
I just had the weirdest chills come over me as I watched him say hello to thin air.
Oh.
My theory on why so many horses and animals stuck around, the owner bought the farm in the 80s and since then had rescued hundreds of abused horses. Lots of the horses were misfits.
It makes me think of Animal Farm. Do you remember Animal Farm? Oh, you didn't read it?
No.
Oh, the saddest part. I won't spoil the book. Although I read that they're taking it out of the curriculum now, but the saddest part is they go to take the horse away to the glue factory. I can't. I literally cry. I can't handle that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
It's so sad. I never knew horses were used for that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Horses deserve to be free. Dang it! Have you seen Spirit?
You speciesist. So cows can be slaughtered while horses can walk?
All animals deserve to be free. I love animals, and I wish that they weren't like
Yeah.
food.
Okay.
I just love animals.
So many animals that were beat, scarred, walked with a limp, would tremble when you touched them, would literally almost kill themselves in fear if you put a saddle on their back. So many horrors they went through. Some of them were just abandoned because they had cancer or they were too old to ride and people got bored of them. People routinely dumped animals there. I'm not kidding when I say a few times a year the owner would wake up to a new horse in her yard because someone literally just dropped it off without caring. And yet that farm was the most peaceful place in the world. All those animals that never really passed on stuck around to hang out with their friends and just be in a place they all knew that could never get hurt.
Oh, that's so precious and sad.
She made a little heaven for the animals on Earth.
Of course they're going to stick around. I mean, that sounds like a beautiful place to come back to in the afterlife. Well, I really liked your story. Mine is like very different from yours. Mine is called Black-Eyed Children.
Oh, the Black-Eyed Peas?
The Black-Eyed Children. So, not foreshadowing, a little background.
Forward.
Yeah, a little forward. Black-eyed kids are a phenomenon that people have seen.
It's like, yo, why Tommy's got black eyes? I thought they were green.
They're seen, I'm not sure they're necessarily a ghost or a demon, but they might possibly be their own kind of like class of supernatural. I don't really know what to classify them other than they're just known as black-eyed children. It's like an actual phenomenon, an actual thing. So, the story says, I totally forgot about this until my mom brought it up at dinner. And now it's 9:30 at night and I'm scared all over again. I love this person's commentary about how scared they are. It's super funny. So this was back in high school, either my freshman or sophomore year. I missed the bus and I didn't have a car at the time, so my mom had to drive me to school. The road, my tiny neighborhood, more like a glorified cul-de-sac, was off a long rural stretch of road that only had one equally tiny other neighborhood and a few houses here and there. It was 6 a.m. or something and still dark outside, and it was colder than a witch's. As we're pulling out of the neighborhood, my mom and I both saw these 3 children in blue and white private school uniforms standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder at the entrance of the neighborhood on the sidewalk.
It's the teenagers from Codename Kids Next Door.
Yeah, right. It was either 2 girls and 1 boy or 2 boys and 1 girl. I don't remember the ratio, but the girl or girls wore a blue and white skirt dress outfit, and the boy wore a blue short sleeve shirt with khaki shorts.
100% the teenagers from Kids.
Codename Kids Next Door.
Kid Next Door. It's not right?
No, because they all had their own little outfits.
Whatever.
They all had their own little, like, number 4, I remember, was...
No, the teenagers.
Huh?
Here, watch this. Codename.
I think we're thinking of different things.
No, they were the villains of the show.
What?
Let me find them.
Don't you hate when you, like, do a Google search to prove your point and then your point doesn't come up?
Yeah, these ones.
Oh, yeah, I totally
remember. So what were you saying?
them.
What were you saying?
Oh my gosh, yeah, to a T. Okay, the villains in Kids Next Door, Codename Kids Next Door, to a T, black-eyed kid. Look, that one even has black eyes.
Exactly, I'm telling you.
I do remember that.
Don't you hate when Google search blah, blah, blah?
Let's not argue on Timber's birthday. So this was weird for a few reasons. One, it was 40 degrees outside, and they're standing outside in their short sleeves. They looked like they were dressed for the summer, and they didn't even wear coats or anything. So if those were real kids, you know their mom would have been yelling at them, put on a coat! Don't go outside without a jacket! Blah, blah, blah. Secondly, there were 2 schools in the area, but not a private school till the next town over, and blue and white weren't the school uniform colors. Third, what young kids just stand there in a single file line, not doing anything but standing. No joking around, no nothing. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Trust me, I work with kids, and I could never imagine them doing that.
I'm telling you 1,000,000% it's the villains from Codename's Kid Next Door.
And it honestly could be. Now this is the conspiracy I've been looking for after reading
1,000,000%, like, no doubt.
So lastly, this wasn't where the bus stop was. It was just a few blocks down. just a sprinkle of extra creepy on top for giggles.
Wow.
Sorry, there's some inappropriate language in this, but it's funny. But I'm doing my best to read it without. There wasn't any street lights, and they were just standing in the dark, not doing anything except being creepy as hell, I guess. Yeah. They were on the corner on the right, closest to the passenger side, where I was obviously sitting. And of course, we were turning right. As we got closer, I thought at first they didn't have faces. But it was just too shadowy and dark out, and the headlights only shone under their shoulders, which is how I can remember the outfit so vividly. Then we got closer, and I was relieved to see that they had faces, but then got completely freaked out all over again when I saw their eyes were all black. Like supernatural Sam and Dean fighting demons, all black. My mom saw it before I did, and she put the pedal to the metal and hightailed it out of there. I remember trying to look back and see them, but I couldn't since it was too dark. My mom didn't go back home till the sun rose, and it was bright enough to not be scared, which props to you, because that's exactly what I would do. I would not go back to the house by myself while it was still dark. I wouldn't even step foot out of my car. So, of course, nobody believed me at school, my siblings, though, and they thought that we were full of it. But we know what we saw. We never saw them again after that, though. I thought they were ghosts, but a few months after, I heard about the black-eyed children on YouTube or something and made the connection. We moved shortly after due to unrelated reasons, and this was about 3 or 4 years ago. And I had blissfully forgotten about it until my mom said, "Hey, remember when? And now I want to die. I hope my irrational anxieties and fear around children that are small enough for me to punt across a soccer field is amusing at least." So this person
A+
is funny.
for storytelling.
I really like what they did with that, but yeah.
I don't think they came across Black-Eyed Kids. I think it was just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
What?
I meant to say Codename Kids Next Door.
No,
Teens.
I definitely think it's Black-Eyed Kids, but I don't know what Black-Eyed Kids necessarily are, because there's a lot of stories of Black-Eyed Kids, like kind of have similar lure to a vampire. Like, you have to invite them in, and like one was like Black-Eyed Kid asking for a ride or something.
We should do an episode.
Let's do an entire episode
Next week
on
we'll do
Black-Eyed
Kids.
Black-Eyed Kids. Not to be confused with the Black-Eyed Peas.
Yep. Not.
Although probably very similar. Demonic.
Black-Eyed Peas are
I'm just
fire.
kidding.
They're fire.
I'm kidding.
2000s were a great time for the Black-Eyed Peas.
I do have one more story if you'd like, since we have a little extra time.
Ure.
It's just a short story, and this one's a little bit more creepy and really sad. Actually, this is a complete 160 from your story.
Oh, man.
Or
I should have
180,
gone last.
180 from your story, and I feel bad talking about it on Timber's birthday, but I'm going to anyway.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, Timber, close your ears. This one is not part of your birthday dedication. So the title is Blood-Covered Crying Woman in a House That Was for Sale. So when I was about 14, I was staying at my grandparents' house for a weekend, as my parents were away and my grandparents offered to look after me and my sister. My grandparents lived in a small town about 30-minute drive from the city, and the houses they live in are in a small neighborhood within the town. On a Saturday of that weekend, I was outside in the back garden by myself as the sun was setting. I was playing with the football, and I accidentally kicked it over the wall into the garden of the next house on the street. Nothing good ever happens when the ball goes over the neighbor's fence.
That's like the cliche.
It is pretty cliche, but I mean, it's true.
It is.
It's true. So I went over the wall to retrieve the football, and as I picked up the ball, I looked into one of the windows of the house, and I saw a woman kneeling beside a dog that looked like its throat had been cut. Oh, rip. Rip to Timber. Look at Timber, look at us. She's like, I hear you over there. I hear you talking about dead dogs.
This is so bad. Why did you end on this?
I'm sorry. So the woman was in what looked like to be a nightgown covered in blood, and she looked as if she was screaming, but I couldn't hear her until all of a sudden, all I could hear was white noise, and she turned and looked at me whilst pointing to the dead dog. Ah, puppy. I quickly ran and jumped back over the wall in a flood of tears and ran to my grandparents.
Wait, did you get the ball, though?
So I quickly ran and jumped back. I don't think so. I think she just left the ball.
That's what I'd call a wuss growing up.
Eric.
I'd be like, "Where's the ball, bro?"
It's kind of like The Sandlot. Have you seen The Sandlot?
Mm-mm.
They hit the ball over the fence, and there's like this giant dog over there that they think is gonna tear them apart, and so they can't go over and get the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, they
That'd be
devise
like
a
Timber on
plan.
the side.
Yeah, it would be Timber. Timber's very protective. But this person said, I told my grandparents about the woman and the dog next door that I saw, and they told me that the house was for sale, and the previous owners had moved out about a month prior to this, and that no one had come to view the house yet. I haven't seen her since, and my grandparents have still not seen her. So I don't know what the story is with the dog or the woman, but my thought is like maybe it's a residual haunting, like the dog got hit by a car or something, and maybe the girl got hit too, like her and her dog, and so this is a residual haunting of like she used to live there or something. It is really sad, and I'm so very sorry. I didn't even think about not reading that on Timber's birthday, the episode we dedicate to our dog.
Awful ending.
But we'll just go ahead and end
You know what?
it
If
there.
you're listening to this, go back to my story, listen to it one more time, and end on that note,
Yes.
people, because this is a bad note to leave on. Timber,
Listen
you're the
to-
greatest dog ever.
You are.
We're going to treat you good, and you're going to go to doggy heaven
Yes,
and
you
be
are.
haunted with
Yes,
us.
you are.
Come
Sweet
here.
little
Yeah,
angel.
come here. Come up here. Come up here.
Well, so that's the end of our episode. Again, our counter episodes are a little bit shorter, but you should go like us on Facebook at Paranormal Partners. Find us on Instagram. It's also just at Paranormal Partners, all lowercase.
And comment for Timber. Tell us your ghost stories and comment for Timber.
Message us our ghost stories on your ghost stories on either, and check out paranormalaf.com if you want to support us with some merch or read
Merch
more
gang.
ghost stories. I have a blog on there.
Merch gang.
So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.